The New York Knicks master plan has just been revealed as after the team signed PJ Tucker to another contract, many fans questioned the move, wondering why they wouldn't go with a younger player who would add more on-court production. But there is a lot more here than meets the eye, and it is not just about being on the court or being on the sidelines. All the things that people talk about PJ Tucker's leadership, that is not the case for all this going down. There is a much deeper, smarter, sneakier idea by Leon Rose and the New York Knicks, and we are going to break all of that down in this video. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as always. And guys, if you are part of that 64% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, this is the place to be for all New York Knicks content. We are closing in on that 13,000 subscriber mark. Please, please, please hit the subscribe button. We are really on that grind, trying to get there before the playoffs, and then we are really pushing hard once the playoffs begin. We're going to make a ton of videos. You don't want to miss out. You guys don't care about this. You guys want to hear about the news. Look, the Knicks signed PJ Tucker, and well, here's the deal. When people signed him, or when the Knicks signed him, a lot of people had mixed reactions. Some people agreed with the move, thinking that Tucker's leadership was a good thing to add to this New York Knicks team, while others sort of criticized Leon Rose and his decision-making for this move, as instead the Knicks could have went for a guy who would add more on-court production than the 39-year-old who has only played in one game this season, a game where he played for the Knicks for around 1 minute, didn't score the ball, didn't do anything, has no real stats on the season, and many questioned why Leon Rose would do this when the Knicks bench could use some more depth. Now, in recent games, we have seen the bench step up more, specifically Landry Shamet, who's given a lot of help, and also having Mitchell Robinson there is going to be helpful as well, though I'm not necessarily going to classify him as a bench player because there is such a world that the Knicks run into a matchup where they'd rather start Mitchell Robinson over Josh Hart, something Josh Hart has already said that he would be okay with if that's the correct move for that series, that he would not complain at all about starting Mitch and that it would make sense, specifically against a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers, who it feels unlikely the Knicks will face in the playoffs. They have to go up against the Celtics in the second round, which they do, but against a team like the Milwaukee Bucks, who are on a two-big-man lineup with Giannis Antetokounmpo and also Brook Lopez, there is a world where the Knicks will want to start Mitchell Robinson there for the extra help on Giannis, especially with Damian Lillard being out and just the whole world of, well, essentially having as much Giannis protection as possible so you can sort of just try to neutralize him as best as you can, and then on the offensive end, you'll be fine anyway, especially with Jalen Brunson's return being imminent. All that being said, many questioned why the Knicks didn't add another guy who could be helpful on the court for the New York Knicks, as no one really expects PJ Tucker to get minutes or really give productive minutes at this point in his career. I honestly think he could give a productive 7 to 10 minutes a night, if I'm being completely honest, but I understand why anyone who disagrees has their opinion on it. Well, Ian Begley broke a ton of this down, saying that PJ Tucker's rest of season deal with the Knicks will leave them with enough room under the second apron to add yet another veteran free agent at the end of the regular season. Knicks people have appreciated PJ Tucker's off-the-court impact. His vocal approach during his 2-week stint with the club, the player and the team have an agreement, plan to finalize the deal shortly. In the scenario described above, the Knicks would need to waive a player in order to create room on roster to sign another free agent. They could fit a veteran minimum salary under the second apron if they wait until the last day or two of the regular season to make the transaction. So that is a huge part of this as well, is the New York Knicks are just trying to find a way where they could really essentially just get another player on this team, get another player on the roster as well. Now, yes, they would need to waive someone in. The guy who I kept coming back to for a very long time was DeLon Wright. But DeLon Wright is playing really, really, really good basketball right now as the Knicks starter. So it makes you wonder if the Knicks would be willing to waive Wright or anyone at this point. However, there's a world where they absolutely would, because there is a guy or multiple guys who they could pick up who would be super, super helpful. I do have a video coming out on that after this one, so make sure to stay tuned for that video as well. Both of these are going to be dropping in the same day, so make sure you're subscribed to stay tuned for that video. It's going to be a really fun one about a guy who a lot of Knicks fans just need to talk about a bit more. But look, actually two guys, but again, beside the point, look, where the New York Knicks stand right now, things are getting very, very interesting, because adding PJ Tucker was a good move in that sense. If you can add another free agent as well who's going to give on-the-court impact, then having a guy who's won a championship, who's a veteran, who's been a good vocal leader for years and years now, is an excellent guy to have for this Knicks locker room, a team that could use a bit of a jolt in toughness right now. They're not a not tough team, but they did lose some of their fiery guys in Dante DiVincenzo, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Julius Randle. Honestly, the three most fiery guys on their team, the three guys who I don't necessarily want to say bruisers, though that fits for Randall and Hartenstein, but just guys who are not afraid to scrap, get into it, defend their players. I mean, we just saw Dante DiVincenzo get suspended for a game because he got in a fight. Dante's not backing down to anyone. Neither is Julius, neither was Hartenstein. And I'm not saying these Knicks do, but there needs to be more spark from this team after we lost those three guys, and Tucker adds that in a lot of good ways. I know we all are kind of upset about the Draymond Green situation and Tucker going up and hugging him. In Tucker's defense, he was on the Knicks for like 5 minutes at that point, so there is that we have to be aware of. All that being said, though, this does make a lot of sense that the Knicks would want to add someone else, and a lot of people have come back to this name. TJ Warren. Now, TJ Warren was a guy who constantly expected to get a call-up from the New York Knicks, and he deserved one because the way that he was playing basketball for the Knicks. I mean, Warren, he played great for the Westchester Knicks this season, putting up 22.7 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists, while shooting well from the field and from three. However, once the Knicks signed Tucker, Warren essentially waved the white flag and was like, you know what, no, I'm done with this, and he left the Westchester Knicks, and now he's not really playing with a team right now because he decided, all right, I waited all year for the Knicks to pick me up. I did everything they asked me, and they didn't. I'm done. Understandably, I'd be upset too. There is a world where the Knicks could still pick up TJ Warren if they want to use him for that final veteran minimum salary, so he probably should consider that because you know Warren's agent has told him that, so maybe he'll come back or maybe he'll just go somewhere else and try to find a new team to succeed with, but all the best to TJ Warren. I do think the Knicks probably should have picked him up at some point. He's been very good, but the inconsistent shooting and the defense that's been a bit questionable at points does leave something to be desired in the modern NBA, which is important to note here. At the same time, though, Warren deserves an NBA spot. He absolutely does. But Ian Begley also spoke a bit more on things, mentioning that the Knicks, they have a team option on PJ Tucker's deal. This was first reported by ESPN, and also, it gives New York additional salary to include in an offseason trade if the club chooses to go that route. So on top of everything that this is, and a way to add another player as well, and also having a vocal leader, Leon Rose is cooking something up here, man. PJ Tucker is about to be used as what's effectively a human trade exception. Over the offseason, when the Knicks need to make salary for something work, and mind you, this is a very calculated team. Leon Rose, every move he makes, there is a purpose and point behind it, and usually it's got a deep meaning. The Knicks have one of the best salary cap managers in basketball in Brock Aller. The man is a wizard with the salary. He made the loopholes work to get the Cat trade. Remember when technically the trade wasn't legal, so the Knicks had to move a few guys, such as mainly the most popular name was Daquan Jeffries, but also Mamadi Diakite, to the Charlotte Hornets to make things work. And since the Knicks couldn't trade out minimum salaries, they paid these guys $1 over the veteran minimum. Dwayne Washington Jr. was the other one, just for context. And all three of these guys get moved to Charlotte and are getting paid $1 over the minimum salary so they could make it work. Brock Aller, Leon Rose, William Wesley, and the whole Knicks front office excels at loopholes. They're so good at it. And effectively, this is what this is. They're finding another way to not exactly create a loophole, but to manipulate the salary cap a little bit more to fall in their favor. A team that is close to that second apron and is trying to avoid going in it at all costs. Right now, this season, they can't, but over the summer, they will be allowed to go into the second apron. It just causes a lot of issues. And the Knicks, they would rather avoid that as long as possible. Obviously, with the Cat contract, it does make things a bit difficult. But the Knicks certainly have a trade or two in mind that they want to be able to have that PJ Tucker salary for. So it's going to be interesting to see how he uses that and how the New York Knicks use that for next season, or next offseason, I should say, this coming offseason, when they evidently will trade PJ Tucker in a move to really just create some salary cap wizardry and add in a guy to this team via trade who they want. So a trade is certainly coming over the offseason. But on top of that, Mike Breen also mentioned, you know who else, and the players have really talked about this, is really good about strategy on the bench? PJ Tucker is nonstop into the game. And on top of that, Josh Hart said he's been great in terms of being a vocal and talking to guys individually and doing these things. I think with him and all of us struggle with finding the right time to address certain things and holding guys accountable in the group setting. I think that's something everyone's trying to figure out, and PJ Tucker is not afraid to do that effectively, which has led to the New York Knicks having a better vibe. I mean, even without Jalen Brunson, the Knicks have been good recently, and there is a world that PJ Tucker's leadership off the bench has played a real factor into this. You know the players would say that, so at the end of the day, I have no problem with this signing, especially if the Knicks want to sign someone else, and that video, guys, is coming soon, so make sure to be subscribed to the channel. It's coming out today, so subscribe to Knicks Digest so you don't miss that. Like this video, turn on post notifications so you can be notified of all videos that we make. We are dropping a few TikToks and YouTube shorts soon as well, trying to mix things up. You know how we go. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and go Knicks.